Do you want to learn how to use Splunk to monitor security events in cloud environments? I'm JB, this is CyberInsight, and today we're going to be doing another lab walkthrough, this time specifically looking at how to use Splunk to monitor AWS environments. I'm going to go ahead and get my browser set up here, but if you do me a favor first, go ahead, smash that like button, that way I know that you're appreciating the content. And there's no better day than today to go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. Just make sure if you do, you turn on notifications, that way you don't miss when I drop new content. And as I always say, if you have any questions as we're moving through this stuff, throw those in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them, or maybe somebody else in the chat will know the answer if I don't. So we did a Splunk room last week, I believe, when it was finishing up the 300 and 400 series questions in Boss of the SOC version 2. I think that was Splunk room 2. And so today we're going to be looking at Splunk Room 3. We're going to be doing one of the first tasks that they have that's looking specifically at AWS environments. So this is going to be really cool if you haven't done this before. We're going to be looking at things like API calls, different types of authentication, S3 bucket misconfigurations, things like that. So really excited to get into this. And it's just going to be a fun room. And if everybody likes it, then we can continue along with some other videos in the future and do some other rooms in here. I think they might go into Azure and crypto mining and stuff like that. So let's just see what they have to say. If you're following along here, you want to make sure that you spin up the attack box and then also start the machine here so that the Splunk server is up and running. Just like in the previous rooms, they're going to give us a URL that we're going to be able to go to hop into the Splunk instance. Go ahead and hit complete on that. And then they say, before we begin, here's a few different things. And here they're talking about some different ways to help us search for some things that can be kind of helpful, especially if we don't have that much of a background with Splunk. I will openly admit I've used it a bit in a few different environments, but I am by no means any type of expert Splunk user or advanced user or anything like that. I find once you get familiar with stuff, you definitely have kind of your commands that you want to use, but I also kind of just like poking through in the GUI to see, what types of things come up under different source fields, and naturally kind of digging into that from there, which is what we're going to be doing a lot of today. So here they just kind of give us a command. The index is where the data that we're going to be specifically looking for is in. And in this case, it's the Boss of the SOC version 3 data set. And here, all this is doing is it would be providing us with an output that shows the count based off of source type that matches having the key field hash. So you could replace this value hash here with anything. It could be a username, it could be an IP address, it could be whatever. But this is kind of just a format here to show us if we wanted to see where that keyword ended up hitting from different source types, that would be how we do it. And we're going to see some similar commands like that once we actually dig into this. The other one that is actually really useful here, though, is where they give us a count of different types of events within the index based off of source type. And I actually already took that and moved that over into here. And the nice thing with this is it's going to give us a layout of all the different source types. So that's kind of different types of logs that we're ingesting. And it will show us pretty much everything that we've hit on and the amount of logs that go into that. And we can actually adjust this because there's quite a few. And then that will be a little bit easier to see all on one page. So if we have any questions where we might get stuck and we aren't sure, what type of log source we want to look in for different things, this will be helpful to come back to here and just kind of see, okay, what type of log sources are we ingesting? And that can make deducting where we want to go to look for something, especially if we don't know. We can obviously go to Google and search for, how to find a particular type of log. That's one thing that we can do, but we also could just hop back over here real quick and see what's readily available that's been ingested. So now let's jump into this and see what they have to say. So in this task, we will focus on AWS related events with some questions focusing on endpoint related events. The questions below are from the 200 series Boss of the SOC version 3 dataset. If you ever want to go and check those things out, I believe they put in a link back up at the top. I think under here. Yeah, you can go and take a look at that. You can go to the GitHub. You can pull down that data set yourself if you want to, and play around with that. So normally the way that these Splunk rooms and tasks are laid out, they give us a little bit of background on the questions and some links that we can go to kind of help us out. But what we will do is we will actually just start with a question and see what we can find, and maybe we can use a hint or go back up to the top and take a look and see what they're saying to see if we can find out what the particular answers are. So let's take a look. So list out the IAM users that accessed AWS service successfully or unsuccessfully in Frothley's AWS environment. Answer guidance, comma separated without spaces in alphabetical order. So that is going to be IAM users, just kind of the particular authentication management that's used for users within AWS. So we can go and take a look at this. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to say you probably would want to be a little bit familiar with AWS and know kind of the different services and things like that. But I will say that normally stuff dealing with authentication and API calls and stuff that's kind of happening behind the scenes normally would be in what they call Cloudtrail logs. So if we go back over here, we can see that they do have Cloudtrail logs here. So what I'm going to do is hit this and just go new search. It's going to pop up in a new window. And we can kind of start to see what we have coming in here, a whole bunch of events. And that's going to keep growing. Good to kind of look through the interesting fields here to see what things might be populated. Interesting fields are going to be different things that are parts of different logs. And they break these out, and then you can click into these and see specifics. So if there's not a lot of values, and that's kind of helpful to do that, but if there's 100 plus, diving into that probably isn't the best thing. You probably want to spend a little bit more time narrowing down what particular type of ID or something like that you're looking for. But I just want to kind of look through here and see recipient account ID. I'd assume that's probably the AWS account. Let's see, rule names, config rule names. And we see here they got users. And I think that probably would get us what we're kind of looking for here as far as users that have access to AWS environment. Because remember, we're already looking at just for Cloudtrail logs, so we've kind of already drilled down into that versus if this was a Splunk server that had a whole bunch of different logs, data sets from different types of things. Since we've already drilled down into Cloudtrail specific logs, I think this will probably work for us. So if we put these in alphabetical order, bstol, and I hate autocorrect, bstol, you can stop that, okay. btune, Splunk underscore access, and the last one is web underscore admin. And let's see. Cool. Now let's just go and see what they had to say here. Hint-wise, okay, they were going to tell us to use Cloudtrail as our source. Let's see if we go back up to the question if they give us any type of other information that would be helpful. You're tasked with finding IAM users. Okay. So they had got some links if we wanted to know a little bit about IAM and understanding the source type and field. So we're pretty much looking for Cloudtrail and then users. So pretty cool. Well, let's take a look at this comment real quick. Have you heard of Thundermoth? No, I haven't, but I think you have a follow-up comment here. Thundermoth IT automation is a great way to automate repetitive IT tasks, saves a ton on time, and can even remediate on issues. Way better than SolarWinds or Splunk, in your opinion. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to Google that. Haven't heard of that before. All right, on to the next question. What field would you use to alert that the AWS API activity has occurred without MFA, multi-factor authentication? And they want to provide the full JSON path for the field. All right, so I would again say that this is going to be a Cloudtrail thing. And they say they want to make sure that we exclude events related to console logins. It might be a good idea to do a keyword search query on this one. And don't forget to surround keywords with asterisks. Okay, so we could probably go back here and take a look. We already have source AWS Cloudtrail. Let's see if we just add MFA. I don't know if it's capital or not capital, but we'll see if anything comes up on that. All right, so we got a few events coming in here. And let's just kind of poke through event type. So I said to avoid console sign-ins. So probably AWS API calls, maybe. I don't know if we necessarily need to pick that, but let's do that. So we added event type AWS API call, and let's see if under these request parameters, disable API, instance set, max count, min count. User identity, account ID, invoked by principal ID, MFA authenticated. Okay, let's see what this is. And the value is false. So I would say that this would be the field that we're looking for if we wanted to alert on non-console logins. In this particular API call type of log, and the field we're specifically looking for, user identity.sessioncontext.attributes.mfa authenticated. And the value here is false, meaning that it did not use MFA. So let's take that, see if this is correct. Cool. Let's see if what hint they gave here. Okay, they just said Cloudtrail is the source that we want to use. Okay. What is the processor number used on the web servers? Okay. Answer guidance. Include any special characters or punctuation. All right. Let's take a look. If we go back, I mean, that would be something related to hardware. Let's go back here. And I don't know if we're going to find like a log source here related to hardware. We might. Okay. We can give that a try. Let's click into this. New search. Let's see. And so here we just have CPU type E5 2676. I mean, that might be it. We could give that a try and see if that'll work. Just looking kind of at the other fields that we had that came up here. So we got like CPU cores, frequency, type, memory, swap memory. Yeah, okay. Give that a try. Let's see if this works. Cool. And they said use hardware as a source type for hardware information such as CPU. Okay, cool. All right, we're doing all right. Any other questions so far? We're about to get into what looks like some S3 bucket stuff. So Bud accidentally makes an S3 bucket publicly accessible. Okay, Bud. What is the event ID of the API call that enabled public access? Answer guidance include any special characters or punctuation. So let's see what there is for S3 logs. Let's go to AWS S3 access logs. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know if that's going to be access logs or if that would make sense that that would be under Cloudtrail. But we'll see. We'll give the access logs a try first. Now we could Google this, but I think it's a little bit more fun to just kind of click through and see. We'll learn something even if we're not right. Let's see. What else do they have? Bucket owner. Operation. Get object, put object. Yeah, I think this is just going to be access. Let's go back to Cloudtrail logs themselves, which I think we had here. And let's go S3. See if this will work. Okay. AWS account ID. I think that's what I was talking about when we first started. And I was like, I think that might be it. Okay. So here we go. Here's some ones that are going to match it. So bucket name, configure rules name, configure rules evaluation status, configure rule ID. Now something else that might actually work too. They gave us his name, Bud. I don't know if that will be. We might not actually know that yet. So I'm not going to jump to that. Let's stay with what we had here with the S3 stuff and look at these fields a little bit more. Configure rule. First time activated evaluation, successful evaluation. Username. Well, B stole. B is for Bud. I don't know. That could be it. Let's just click and see what other events we ended up coming up with here. Event type. No. Event name. Okay, here we go. Event names. Get bucket policy. So that's like looking stuff up, listing buckets, put bucket ACL. Yeah, that's what. So that's gonna be a change to the S3 bucket ACL. So let's click into this. So we kind of got lucky with the B stole and knowing his name is Bud, but we'll still take it. So what was there? Let's just see what their question was. What is the event ID of the API call that enabled public access? I got two. Event ID here. So put bucket ACL. Let's actually dig into this a little bit. Oh no, they're not going to let me. Let's actual size. I don't know if that helps a little bit, maybe. If that's too small, let me know. But we needed to be able to see that. So put bucket ACL. And I'm looking for something talking about like all users. Something like that. Giving like full permission to all users. So I'm not seeing that there. Let's get rid of this one. See if I can zoom in on this a little bit more. Let's see. I want to make it so you can see it, but at the same time we're able to get all the stuff on the screen. And hopefully, we'll see here. Okay, let's look at this one. Yeah, that probably works a little better. Okay. So let's see what we're looking through these. What were we granting? Grant URI. Okay. So see access control grant. And the URI here is going to kind of tell you what they're granting access to, but you see this one here has all users. So that would be the permissive one that just gave the keys to the kingdom to everybody. So I think what we're going to want to do is take this event ID. Let's do that. Now, obviously, if it wasn't that and it was a different group or different thing like that, then we would look specifically for that. But just because we know that it was for everybody, that kind of sticks out a little bit. Cool. Let's see if they gave any other hints here. Use AWS Cloudtrail as a source type. In case you get two events, compare the total event output between the two and focus on events that grant rights to all users. Okay, that's what we were saying. Cool. Let's see if they mention anything else up here for this one. Just talking about reading this to understand ACL and S3 buckets. Definitely worth checking out. I also have some other like AWS labs if you're interested on how to configure the different ACLs and permissions on S3 buckets. You can check that out. That might be useful. Actually, a good time, I guess, to mention because we're about halfway through this. If you want to do other Splunk lab walkthroughs, go check out my TryHackMe Rooms walkthrough playlist. I think I probably have, I don't know, maybe at least 4 or 5 videos in there that deal with Splunk walkthroughs. Got some other comments coming in. I'll throw those up here since we're kind of at a good spot. Good stuff, JB. Got one in. Oh man, well, I appreciate you dropping in even though you're on a call. And pre-novice with AWS, so I don't have too many questions. Just happy to follow along and trying to become familiar with the platform. Thanks for streaming. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I can't recommend enough TryHackMe when it comes to this type of stuff. I mean, obviously we're doing this kind of like from a security perspective, but you can use Splunk for a lot of other things besides just security. So just kind of monitoring things within AWS environments and stuff like that, you definitely have a lot of benefits with that. So it's kind of 2 birds with 1 stone with this lab, which is always nice when you can kind of learn a few different things. So what is Bud's username? So we actually kind of figured that out when I narrowed down my search. I think it was bstole. We can kind of go back and look and see how we searched on that. Yeah, username, user identity, bstole. Bstole. Oh, come on, man. Stop auto-correcting. All right. There we go. What is the name of the S3 bucket that was made publicly accessible? I should be able to see that back under here. able to find that somewhere, I would think. Let me see who made the change there. Bucket name, Frothly Web Code. Okay, kind of makes sense since that's their company is Frothly. Let's see, any hint? Use Cloudtrails as a source. Okay, well, I mean, we did that. It's still in the same log, actually. Let's see what the next one is. What is the name of the text file that was successfully uploaded into the S3 bucket while it was publicly accessible? Answer guidance. Provide just a file name and extension, not the full path. Okay, so let's go back here and take a look. I think we can look at those access logs again. And this time, we can search by bucket name since we know that. Frothly web code. Right, so we can get that there. We could identify, like we could look at the time periods, right? If we wanted to get granular with that. I don't know that we necessarily have to do that. They said it was a text document, so we could search on anything.txt maybe. See if that finds anything. Okay. Yeah. So we see these here. Let's see what these are. Well, actually, instead of clicking into that, we can look at HTTP status. So that's all 200. Object size operation is what I'm looking for. So we got a get bucket, a get object, a put object. So as far as actually taking data and putting it into the bucket, that would be the put object value. So if we click into that, and they just wanted to know what's the name of the file. Just a file name, not the full path. So that's going to be open bucket please fix.txt. Cool. Move that over. Sweet. All right, now the last one. What is the FQDN of the endpoint that is running a different Windows operating system edition than the others? All right, let's take a look at what we have for potential log sources that might make sense there. Probably something Windows related. If there is Win event, I don't know about that. Could always just type in Windows and take a look, but let's see what hints they give us. What keywords can you start to help you identify what data sources can help you? One of the key fields within the source type clearly has the answer, but what is it? Okay, let's see what they say here. Win hostmon as a source type. All right, we can definitely do that. Win hostmon. Okay. All right. Let's look at hosts. Got a whole bunch of different hosts. Let's see, device ID, display name, driver date, hardware ID, manufacturer name. See if they have operating system. Wait a second. What did I see back there? See anything? Oh, I thought I saw something for a second. Nope. Let's look at other fields. Hardware version, host, manufacturer name, service. Tag type. Just say Windows. Let's see what else we might be able to pull up somewhere. I'm trying to think what else might be like operating or OS maybe. Let's see that. Maybe that's something we would hit on. Okay, here's something. Here's a log that's matching on that. OS. Cool. Okay, so we got Microsoft Windows 10 Pro and then Microsoft 10 Enterprise. So I would say based off of the count here, there's one, or maybe, they say there's one, and the rest is something else. And we kind of already saw a list of all the different host names for those. So let's just click into this and see which one it is. Go host, and it's bstol-l, all capital. bstol-l. But what's the FQDN for that? All right. So, since we know that this dude works for the company, it's on the network. What could we look for? Let's see if there's anything in here. I don't think we're going to see something here, but we might find something. We just go host, go for that. We could maybe look for like email. What was the one that was stream? SMTP, yeah. So the stream ones capture like actual like conversations and stuff like that, right? So that could unbalanced quotes. Oh yeah. How about that? One, okay. Hey, Bud Stoll. Let's see if they have his receiver email. bstol@froth.ly. So let's give that a chance as the domain, froth.ly. Let's see. At froth.ly. I think I meant to go period there instead of the at, since I was doing an email. Let's see. Bam. Okay. So that was it. That was everything that we had in this particular task. I think it's pretty cool. So we did some stuff related to just poking around in AWS and IAM Cloudtrail logs, looking for different users, looking for uh, accounts and sessions not using MFA. We poked around a little bit to find some information about different types of hardware and or devices. Um, Looked at S3 buckets, looked for event IDs tied to specific events happening. So Bud misconfiguring the access policy on there, allowing anybody on the internet to have access to the web code bucket. Did a little bit more research into Bud to see, what account he had, what bucket was changed, and we went to look to see if anybody made any modifications as far as uploading data to there. Could have looked to see if people pulled stuff down too. And then kind of threw this one together by the seat of our pants, I think, as far as determining the endpoint and what the domain was for that. So, yeah, if you liked all this and you enjoyed this, please smash the like button and let me know, or leave a comment saying that you enjoyed this room or this particular task in this room. And if you want, we can continue and do some more Splunk stuff. It looks like they got some crypto mining stuff, some AWS, some stuff dealing with different types of endpoints, some Azure Office 365 stuff. I don't know what other endpoint stuff they have here, but yeah, this should be a pretty fun room, especially we liked the Splunk room too. So any other questions or comments before we wrap this up? Throw them in now. Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody dropping in. Again, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Smash that like button. Let me know that you appreciate the content. And yeah, we'll chat soon. Have a great week. And yeah, take care of yourselves. All right.